Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Wendy's Kooky Crochet Tutorial. In this video, I am going to be painting a mask. So I'm going to be using some black fabric paint, red fabric paint. I'm going to be using the white kind of waxy paper. I'm going to be using paintbrushes, and I'm also going to be using an invisible ink marker. That way I can get everything I need where I need it. By the way, this mask pattern is from Crochetverse, so if you want it, go get it in her Etsy or Ravelry.
The character It on this. Wish me luck. I'm not always the best at this kind of stuff, but we're going to try it anyway. So kind of there's a line that goes up in the middle of the eye. And again, this marker is disappearing ink. And it does a really great job of disappearing, so just FYI, you don't really have to worry about it not disappearing, that is. And then around the eye, oops, see, that's okay though, because that's going to be red also. So down, and I'm looking at pictures to do this, so it kind of goes down and kind of around a little bit, and then where the mouth is, it kind of goes like this. At least that's what it looks like to me. And then the same thing with this side over here. So I've got this corner, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's try to match it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna go right about, looks like right about there. Again, right now I'm just marking this with my disappearing ink. And then I've got from this corner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about here, going kind of down like that and back around. Kind of like that. Okay, hopefully you can see this with the disappearing ink. And then with the lips kind of course this is thin and it gets thicker as it goes. This may be, I may need to do this one a little bit over further, but again, that's okay. And then the lips kind of, it goes like, kind of like this, I want to say. So quite a bit larger. And it kind of matches up like that right there for the lip. And then I need to look at a closer picture of the upper lip, see what that looks like. So the upper lip kind of mimics it, I think. Or at least on these sides here. So it's a little bit thinner, it looks like to me. Let's find our middle stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the direct middle is this right here. So let's kind of do something like that right there, perhaps. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, so that's kind of how the lips are going to look there. And then the nose. So the nose, I'm going to follow the straight across line here because it looks like the nose on it has a straight across line just like this. So I'm going to try to do the same thing with the nose here. And I think painting this is appropriate since its face looks painted. And then I'm going to just kind of take this down and around to this part right here of the nose. And then the same thing with this side, take it down and kind of follow these stitch lines here for the nose. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be following the stitch lines right there. Alright, now that I have it all marked, I'm going to start painting. So I like to squeeze some paint out first. You can see where I already tried painting on another project piece that I'm doing. It's a like a cracked doll face. It looks super cool. And I didn't record that one because honestly it was my first attempt painting with this kind of paint, so I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. But it actually went rather well, so that was nice. Sometimes you might want to water this paint down. I could see where someone would want to water it down if you need something to be really, really light. So, of course, I'm going to start off here. And it feels like this one I'm not, sometimes like if I wanted to do a hat, like let's say the Twisted Hatter has an aviator hat. Now for that one, what I do is I put my paint onto like a thing like this, and then I use like a fan brush and I just kind of wave it around through it, and then like kind of get another piece of paper and tap most of it off. But this I want to be pretty dark, so again, I'm not doing that for this one. And I really am trying to be very careful here and do this kind of just line it up the best I can. But honestly, crochet is really pretty easy to paint on with the fabric paint. I've never used like regular acrylic paint because I've heard lots of horror stories about using it on crochet. So I just didn't want to take a chance on something like that. And you know, when you make something like this, you don't really want to mess it up. You don't want all the time and effort it put into making this. You really, really don't want to mess it up. So that's a thing. And I don't know, with some of it, yeah, I've just heard lots of horror stories about the colors bleeding and just all kinds of, and just coming out, or then just making these horrible mistakes. And so yeah, I really just wanted to go with what I've always heard is the right kind of paint for this type of project. Alright, so there's that. And I keep on looking at the picture just because I want to make sure it does slightly match. So this does kind of like, it's very skinny at the top and does go out just a hair at the base, but it's not very much at the base. Like, it's just a tiny, tiny bit here at the base. But I am going to make it a little bit wider down here so you can see that it's trying to match it. And I would say if you mess up a little bit, it's okay. It's going to be alright. And honestly, there is white paint, so if you really mess up, you could always paint over this with the white. Oh, another thing I was going to say about it too is like, this paint that I used is the glow in the dark, or I mean not paint, but the yarn I use is the glow in the dark yarn, so it's a little bit more expensive than just normal yarn. So that's another reason I would really not want to mess it up. I'm not to, you know, all the time and energy I spent in crocheting it too, but the yarn is a bit more expensive also. Then I need to kind of start curving this around. And obviously it's going to get larger as I work. And I don't put a lot of paint on it to start with. I don't just glob all the paint on there just because I don't want, like, there's a less chance I'm going to mess up if I don't glob paint on there. Like, it may take a little bit longer, but I think it's worth taking a little bit longer just to make sure you're not messing anything up. I'm going to go out more on this side, I believe, here. And it does say that this paint can take 24 hours to dry, so just make sure that you're not having to do this and like have it done the same day anyway. Again, I'm just kind of building up the sides here a little bit, because that's what it looks like to me from the pictures, is that the sides are built up some. So that's kind of what I'm going to do here. And again, just take your time when you do this kind of stuff. It's going to be well worth it, but you definitely need to take your time. Don't try to hurry it. And of course, what I like about this is we can wear this like a million times and not have to redo our makeup when we're doing photo shoots. So that's going to be super nice.
Guys, if you're learning something from what you're seeing or liking what you're seeing, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would really appreciate it. I literally like celebrate every time someone subscribes to my channel. And if you know anybody who would like this video, share it with them. Thanks.
Alright, so that's looking good so far. I'm going to switch to the nose just because I don't want to trap myself here. I know that if I don't switch to the nose, you kind of should probably work yourself from the middle out when you're painting, because I don't want to mess anything up after that I've already painted. So let's probably use the black and paint me some nostrils here if I wanted to. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. Guess I'll decide later when I've got the black and I'm doing it. So the black doesn't look super defined like the red does. So I may do the other technique with the black that I was telling you about before. So after looking at the picture again, I think I will go up just a little bit higher on the nose here, because I think it is a little bit higher on the nose. So let's go up a little bit higher than what I was planning on before. And then I would suggest like just turning it over when you're doing it and making sure you're filling in all of those spots. I think that's better. Okay, so now I'm going to get this line of the eye before the ink disappears because I can see it's already starting to fade. So let me go ahead and get this line here. I could consider felting this, but I don't think felting would give me the sharp edges that I was looking for with this. That's really the only reason I didn't go with felting, because I do really enjoy felting on my crochet projects, but again, I just didn't think that was going to give me 100% the look that I really wanted here, so that's why I opted not to felt it. And I'm trying to get into all these little crevices in between also. It's going to be a little bit tough to do, but that is what I'm attempting to do here. this. So, all right, so far I am really digging this. I think it looks great. Let's see if there's anything I need to add up here. This isn't bad, honestly, so I think that's not bad at all. Yeah, all right, so far really digging this. Now I'm going to move on to the black, and with the black, I've got a little thing of water here, and I've got a napkin here because I'm going to want to blot it some. So let's see. And I know I'm not going to want it like straight black on this, so I'm just going to use what I had with the red. And I got a couple of other little paint brushes here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like around the sides, but I don't want it to be super defined. I want it to be a little bit messier looking, which you would think that would be easier, but honestly, is it really easier? I don't think it actually is any easier. So I'm watering this down just a bit. That way it spreads thinner. Here, I can just wipe that off there. That will work. And I don't think I'm going to use my fan brush. I think I will use this other brush. And I'm going to wet, see the other one when I did it a little bit more defined on the red, I did not water that brush down at all. But this one I'm going to water the brush down a bit because I just want it to kind of pick up the color. Then I'm going to kind of sweep it like that. Then I'm just going to kind of brush it. And again, I don't want it to just be like super defined. I want it to be a little bit messier looking. And I think this will accomplish that. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Because that's kind of the vibes it gives me when I'm looking like at the pictures. Is the black's just a little bit messier than what the red is. The red's like looks intentionally straight, but the black looks slightly messy to me. So again, that's what I'm going for, and it doesn't look like that all the way around. Like it kind of curves down to where there's almost nothing at the side there. Like just a tiny little bit at the side, but maybe not much at all. Oof, I keep on touching it. Oh my gosh, I gotta not do that. See, that's bad. So the inside of the eye, which is what I'm doing right now, appears to have quite a bit more of the blackish color. It kind of goes up on the nose even just a tiny bit. And I may have to even go over this a little bit better with something else, but we're going to see here how we like this. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too shabby right there. So let's try that. A little bit more up in here, because that's kind of how it looks like it's concentrating down there. Then has a little bit of black here. Again, not like a crazy amount though. And it does dip a little bit right here. So let's see if I can get it to dip just a hair there. Again, not much. I do want, again, I want this to look fuzzier, not like it was kind of almost like it's dirt or makeup that's smudged quite a bit. That type of feel, instead of just being like, oh yeah, this is I don't know, like a more intentional kind of deal here. Then down here, I feel like it gets almost to where it's nothing, or very close to nothing. So that's kind of what I'm going for there. So again, the picture kind of just has it really dark just around. Some of the pictures that I've seen do have it more defined around the actual eye, so I could go a bit more here, I suppose. And I feel like, I don't know, if I'm looking at it straight on, I feel like that it needs to come down a little bit more because it's a little bit hard to see. And I could probably even like the inside of the eyes fill in a little bit with this because it is watered down. Since I don't want it to be super dark, but I do want it to be, if that makes sense. Probably not. So I'm going to fill in some of these little crevices here. Especially like the edges, just the edge, because that other brush isn't getting this edge that great. So let's get the edge, because I feel like that's a little bit more defined, but then like the other part is not. That's looking a little bit better, I do think. Let me get this edge here now. Because I think doing the edge and then going around may be what I need to do. It's like this bottom edge here too. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll just smudge it like this. That way it looks messy, because that's kind of how I want it to look, is messy, not just so perfect right here at that one point. Now, if I don't want it to look messy, then I definitely don't do this. Oops, I don't want to spill my water. So yeah, if you don't want it to look messy, don't do what I'm doing right now. I should probably not be doing it like this either. Here. So you see how I'm making it blend a little bit better by doing this. Now, if I want it to be like straight lines, you don't need to be doing this. But if you want it to be messy, then definitely you can do it like this. I mean, he doesn't like have a huge amount of it, so that may be enough. So I'm going to change my tactic now. Instead of doing it with the other brush, I think I'm going to try to just do some of the edge here with this brush, and then I'm going to rub it in and see how that where that takes me. And right now I'm just adding water and smudging it in places, which seems to be working okay for me right this second. Again, a lot of this is trial and error, and you can't expect it to be 100% perfect because that's just not going to happen. But it does look cool, and I do think I will, I may try to soften it up a little bit with the white, because I do think it may need a little bit of softening up with the white. So maybe just a little, even a little bit more softening up. And it's okay if I use the same one. I'm not going to worry about that. That way it doesn't stick out quite as much. So, you know what? I think that's working better for me here. Is just softening up with this white a bit more. You see how I'm just trying to be messy with it because it's not perfect when he's wearing it, like the makeup and stuff. Yeah, that actually looks a little bit more like it to me because it's not as dark. Yeah, it's just not as dark on the thing, so that actually does look a little bit more like what it looks like. So I think that was a good decision. Alright, let's see what we think now. I definitely think that's quite a lot better. So I think that's what I'm going to go with, is like that. I like that way, way better. So, what do you guys think about painting on crochet? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and be sure to like this video and subscribe, everybody. Happy hooking!